She said, well, I'm living there. And I said, well, if he's in jail, why are you there?
Where I stay, and that is where my address is. I'm not a squatter. I have been there for almost a year. I do have the
squatters' rights, ma'am. Versus Jabron Haywood, case number 25C0328.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. David Fantera on behalf of the plaintiff.
Is Jabron Haywood present?
Jabron Haywood's in jail.
Okay.
So can I give you a little bit of a background?
Certainly.
There was a woman who signed in, who actually I was put into the breakout room with, and I thought she was coming back to address the court. She claims to be.
One second, please. You said she's in the waiting room?
Yeah.
All right. Miss Molly Butterly?
Yep. How are you?
So about Mr.
Fantera. Mr. Fantera, 1 second, please. Miss Molly Butterly, you're the caretaker?
Correct.
All right.
First of all, let me say I dispute that, because we actually sued Mr. Haywood twice last year. He came to court once by Zoom with the magistrate, and it was a gentleman. And the second time he came to court, Mr. Haywood, you may remember him, he can't speak.
Yes.
And the second time he came to court, he had his cousin with him who fell asleep in your courtroom.
I do remember all of that, actually.
And both of them, on each occasion, it was, oh, these people are my caregivers. And so now I have this young lady who says, I'm his caretaker. She said, well, I'm living there. And I said, well, if he's in jail, why are you there? Because if he's in jail, you can't be there. I mean, there's nothing to take care of. So what prompted this case was, in December, the township went by to do an inspection. And they called my client and said, we're going to fail this. There's people living here who are dealing drugs. They moved in a trailer outside the building. And the township basically was going to condemn the property. But we said, well, look, but everybody agreed that. And when my client went over there to find out what was going on, he found 4 young men, and none of whom was Jabron Haywood. And so we said, well, we don't have a lease. We're just going to send a 30-day notice. In the meantime, there have been 2 drug raids on the property in the last couple of weeks. And so Miss Butterly does not have a right to be there. I don't know whether she's his caretaker or not, but if she's his caretaker, he's not there. And certainly when we came to court a year ago, I shouldn't say a year ago, probably April or May, he didn't bring Miss Butterly. He brought, on 2 different occasions, 2 different men. And so he doesn't have a lease. She doesn't have a right to dispute this. I would like a judgment. I think we did a second mailing. So I would like a judgment that require whoever is in there to be out within 10 days.
Now, Your Honor, if I may.
Well, you can't represent him, ma'am. But the only reason I'm allowing you to speak is because their proof of service says you were the person that was served. But they did do a second mailing. So what is it you'd like to say, ma'am?
As far as the drug raid goes, his nephew, after he went to jail, came into the house. I've been in the room for over 2 months trying to get him out of the house, been being threatened. You know, they will not leave. As far as people living in that trailer, that was his nephew, that his nephew put on the property. Nobody was living in there. So that is completely false information. As far as me being Jabron's caretaker, I've been Jabron's caretaker for 10 years. At the time, him and I had
ma'am. He's been to court at least twice, and you've never been to court with him.
Correct. At that point, we had a falling out. I was actually caretaking for a gentleman who just passed away. I've actually been back there since, I'm trying to think of it, May this year. I was back there. I moved back there. And as far as me staying there, I stay there because he needs breathing treatments and whatnot, and I take care of him that way. So, and I feed him and whatnot. So
But he's been in jail since when?
October, end of October, beginning of
No,
November.
if he's been in jail since October, you're not taking care of him living in a
I
place.
understand that is where I stay and that is where my address is. I'm not a squatter. I don't appreciate you being rude to me because I did not do anything in this case. All I'm saying is I don't want to pull the squatters' rights, but I have been there for almost a year. I do have the
squatters' rights, ma'am. So you can stop that. But secondly, if you're the person who's been there since October and the place has been raided twice, then you seem to be the person that's responsible for that.
There's no drugs. There's no drugs found at the first raid. As far as the second raid goes, I have no idea. His traffic, as far as the people that were there when they came to do the inspection, those were his nephews that were there in town for Thanksgiving. And we told him.
All right, Mr. Fanter, given that the defendant is not present and he does not have representation present, anybody with the legal authority to represent him on his behalf, he has been properly served with the notice to quit based on the documentation I have in the file, which indicates that he was served on December the 15th with the notice that he had 30 days to move by January 20th of 2025. Which means that if anybody was present at that particular place, they would know that as well. I'm going to grant your motion for a judgment in this case, giving them until you say what date to move, Mr. Ventura.
10 days, which would be, I believe, February 18th. Do you need me sworn, Your Honor?
Yes. You swear or affirm the testimony you provided is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank
Everything I just said is true to the best of my knowledge, information, and belief. And I will. His lease expired. It ended on June 1st of 2024. So this 30-day notice was sent because the lease has expired. We gave him more than 30 days notice. Whoever is in there has not moved out. We'd request a judgment for possession with a writ after 10 days if they have not vacated the property.
Judgment for possession.
Okay, so now what if I'm not out in 10 days?
Then the sheriff's department will be out on the 11th day to give you notice that you have 24 hours to move. If you don't move after that, ma'am, they'll be out with the sheriff's department's might to place you and everything in the premises on the street.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Anything else fun and exciting today? The court will call the case of YES Timberlands LLC